Then Sports Central, be giving you guys our Week 10 college football bowl projections for the 2023 college football season. We are headed into November, the final month of the regular season. And so with that, we'll be talking about where things stand as we look forward to November and what things could look like once we get to bowl season. So in a way, this is basically predicting how the rest of the season is going to go and what the bowls could look like, as well as the New Year's Six. So with that, let's get started looking at the Myrtle Beach Bowl first. We got Troy and Toledo. New Orleans Bowl, we got Liberty and James Madison. I mentioned this in the last projections, but there is a pretty good chance we're not going to have enough bowl-eligible teams this season, so it would make sense to potentially see a few 5 and 7 teams make bowl games, but also James Madison and Jacksonville State, two teams that have been more successful than and will be more successful than any 5 and 7 team this season. Two teams that are technically ineligible because of their transfer from FCS to FBS in recent time, but they would be placed, many do believe, in front of any 5 and 7 teams. So we do have James Madison and Jacksonville State in these projections. Here, we got Air Force and Ohio. Air Force is a team that is still undefeated, but they are ranked 25th, surprisingly, in the first edition of college football playoff rankings. So that is a bit concerning for them. Although if they win out and Tulane even takes one loss, that easily puts Air Force into the New Year's Six. But as of right now, I do have Tulane still in the New Year's Six picture. New Mexico, we got UNLV and New Mexico State. LA Bowl, we got Washington State and Fresno State. Washington State kind of fell off a bit in October. A bit of a disappointing month, but still got this team projected for 7. And to the LA Bowl, Independence Bowl, we got TCU and Arizona. TCU got projected for 6, Arizona for 7. Arizona coming off of a nice win this past weekend against Oregon State. And TCU is a team that's kind of on the gradient right now, but the Pac-12 continues to have some really good depth this season, that's for sure. Bahamas Bowl, we got Jacksonville State and NIU. Frisco Bowl, SMU and Texas State. Boca Raton Bowl, we got Coastal Carolina and Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech back in the bowl picture after a nice win this past week. And Yellow Jackets, I've got them projected for 6. Also kind of on the gradient as of right now. Gas Bowl, we got Mississippi State and Georgia State. Georgia State having a nice season, and I've got Mississippi State projected for 6. Auburn, I got them projected for 7. And in the Birmingham Bowl to take on Marshall. Camellia Bowl, we got Memphis and Western Kentucky. Armed Forces Bowl, BYU makes it into this one out of the Big 12. I got them projected for 6 to take on Wyoming. One of the better teams in the Mountain West this season. Idaho Potato Bowl, Bowling Green and Colorado State. 68 Ventures Bowl, UTSA and Georgia Southern. Las Vegas Bowl, we got Nebraska and USC. This would be a very interesting matchup. Nebraska got them projected for 7, and I've got USC projected for 8 now. I've dropped them down a little bit. USC just really has been on a free fall the past month. I mean, that's a team that has got a crucial game coming up this week, and if they can beat Washington, they'll definitely be in a much higher position heading into Week 11. But as of right now, based on the way they've been playing in recent time, I do think they take a couple of more losses down the stretch and end up in the Las Vegas Bowl. Hawaii Bowl, we got San Jose State and FAU. Quick Lane Bowl, Boise State against Eastern Michigan. Got Boise State flexing into the Big Ten position there. Then First Responder Bowl, Louisiana against South Carolina. Got South Carolina projected for 6. Guaranteed Rate Bowl, we got Maryland against Iowa State. Maryland's a team that has kind of fallen off a bit in recent time. Only got them projected for 6 now. Iowa State the same there. And Iowa State's been definitely a surprise team this season. They've actually been halfway decent, but Maryland on the other side. Strong start to the season, but since the Ohio State loss, this team has fallen off quite a bit. Military Bowl, we got Boston College and Navy. Boston College is a team that's come around quite a bit as well. Got them projected for 6. Duke's Mail Bowl, we got Texas A&M and Duke. Texas A&M projected for 7. Duke for 8. And there is kind of a 3-way tie in the ACC for one of the better bowl games, the Relia Quest Bowl. And I've currently got North Carolina in there, but Duke and Miami both projected for 8 as well. So, but I do think North Carolina beats both teams, which would give them the benefit. And then we got Holiday Bowl, Miami against Utah. Speaking of which, there's Miami. I got them projected for 8, Utah for 9. So that would be definitely a higher level matchup there for sure than Texas Bowl, Kentucky against Kansas. Typically a matchup between, you would expect, two good basketball teams, but two good football teams this season. Kentucky got them projected for 7, Kansas for 8. Kansas is a team that honestly has a higher ceiling than that as well. I've got them projected for 8, but honestly, wouldn't be surprised if they found a way and got up to 9. Fenway Bowl, we got Syracuse against South Florida. Syracuse having a halfway decent season, and down the stretch it looks pretty favorable. So I think they get up to 7. Pinstripe Bowl, Rutgers against NC State. Rutgers I do have losing out, but I do think this is a team that could still get to 7 potentially. They are already bowl eligible. They found a way to get up to 6 wins by late October. So they're having a pretty good season there. NC State on the other side got them projected for 7. Pop-Tarts Bowl, we got Oklahoma State and Notre Dame. I've had Notre Dame in here the past couple of weeks, but if they can continue to win, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if next week I had that team in Notre Dame in the New Year's 6. There is still a possibility for that. But as of right now, I'm going to put them in this position, taking on Oklahoma State, a team that's definitely been a surprise team as well in the Big 12. Got them projected for 8. Alamo Bowl, we got Kansas State against Oregon State. This would be an interesting one. K-State, a team I got projected for 9. They're starting to come around, and Oregon State on the other side got them projected for 9. Coming off of a tough loss to Arizona, but based on the way the standings, I think we'll end up, we're going to have probably 3 9-3 teams in the Pac-12. Oregon State would technically be in front, so that would put them in the Alamo Bowl. Gator Bowl, we got Mizzou against Wisconsin. Missouri's a team that's having a really nice season. Got them projected for 9. Wisconsin for 8. I got the Badgers second place in the Big Ten West, which would more than likely put them in the Gator Bowl. Sun Bowl, we got UCLA against Clemson. Clemson's a team that is currently 4-4. Clemson, what a disappointment they have been to this point in the season. But as of now, got them taking on UCLA, a team I got projected for 9 in the Sun Bowl. Liberty Bowl, we got Florida against West Virginia. Florida got them projected for 7. West Virginia for 7 as well. West Virginia, I mean, the Big 12 has had a few surprise teams this season. For sure. You consider Iowa State, West Virginia, Oklahoma State especially. Mike Gundy really could be considered for coach of the conference, coach of the Big 12 this season for sure. The way that that team, I mean, they were not expected to be good this season, and they're a team that could end up with 8 or 9 wins this season, and I wouldn't be surprised. So, but West Virginia, nice season for them as well. Got them projected currently in the Liberty Bowl. Music City Bowl, Tennessee against Minnesota. Got Minnesota projected for 7, Tennessee for 8. And Tennessee's a team that honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if they finished with more than 8, but as of right now, that's what I'm going with. And then Arizona Bowl, Boise State against Miami, Ohio. Moving on to your Citrus Bowl, Iowa against Ole Miss. This one, I think Iowa ends up winning the Big Ten West. And that would get them up to 9 wins. And they're going to lose in the Big Ten championship game. That's something that probably is pretty much a given. But that would put Iowa in the Citrus Bowl to take on Ole Miss, a team I got projected for 10. And at this point in the season, winning out. Relia Quest Bowl, we got North Carolina against LSU. North Carolina flexing in for the Big Ten's position here. Typically, we'd see another Big Ten team here, but that would probably be Wisconsin. And as of right now, it makes more sense to put North Carolina in this position. However, based on the past couple of games for the Tar Heels, there is still a chance we see a Big Ten team take this position, which would more than likely be Wisconsin. But as of now, I do want to keep North Carolina or some ACC team in this position. Could also be Duke or Miami against LSU. That team got projected for 9. Cotton Bowl, we got Washington against Alabama. Washington's a team that I've got projected for 11 wins and currently runner-up of the Pac-12. I think that Washington loses a game down the stretch, and they also lose in the Pac-12 title game likely to Oregon. So that would put Washington in the Cotton Bowl. It would take them out of college football playoff contention, but still a really nice bowl game against Alabama. That team got projected for 11. Orange Bowl, we got Louisville against Ohio State. I've got Louisville as second place in the ACC. I've got Florida State winning out and getting to the college football playoff. Louisville playing pretty well right now, and based on the way North Carolina and Duke have taken a couple of tough losses in recent time, Louisville is definitely starting to emerge as the second place team in the ACC. So I've got them at 10-3 heading into this matchup against Ohio State. Ohio State's a team that is number 1 in the initial college football playoff rankings, whether that surprises you or not. But Ohio State, I do think, loses to Michigan down the stretch. That would keep them out of the Big Ten title game. But based on Michigan and their controversy in recent time, honestly, Ohio State, they've got a chance. And I mean, they're very much capable, I think, of still being a college football playoff contender. But for this week, just until we see how Michigan plays here the next couple of weeks, I do want to put Ohio State in the Orange Bowl. Beach Bowl, we got Penn State against Texas. Penn State, I've got them beating Michigan down the stretch, but losing, or they obviously lost to Ohio State already. So Penn State got them projected for 11 against Texas. The Big 12 champion, I think Texas is a 12-1 Big 12 champion this season. They're going to win out, but that still is not going to be enough to keep them out of the college football playoff. It's going to be close, and Texas will be ranked 5th in this matchup in the country. Or it could also be Ohio State. That's also a possibility. So we'll see what happens down the stretch here. But as of now, in the Peach Bowl, do you want to go Penn State and Texas? Fiesta Bowl, we got Oklahoma and Tulane. Tulane is my Group of 5 team as of now, although it could be Air Force and Oklahoma. I've got them as runner-up in the Big 12. Really, in the Big 12 this season, it's Texas and Oklahoma. And there's a decent gap than everybody else. And ironically, Texas and OU are headed off to the SEC, and this is their last season for both teams in the Big 12. But either way, OU got them in the Fiesta Bowl. It makes sense. You could also put like Penn State in this position. That would also be a possibility. But I think it makes, or even Washington as well could be in the Fiesta Bowl. But I do think this would make the most sense, especially if we saw Tulane get the Group of 5 position. But with that, let's move on to the college football playoff semifinals now. So we got Michigan and Florida State in the Rose Bowl. Your 2 versus 3 matchup. Michigan's a team that, as the weeks go on, I'm losing a bit of confidence in this team. We'll see how they play down the stretch. Obviously, a loss to Penn State could be very detrimental to their chances of making the college football playoff at this point. But I still think Michigan finds a way to win out otherwise and win the Big Ten title game. And that would probably put Michigan at number 2, especially if they can find a way to beat Ohio State. So, but obviously, I mean, the Big Ten it could be Michigan or Ohio State. Penn State is still in the picture, although it's obviously still going to be tough for them. They're going to need some help down the stretch. But I've got Florida State number 3. I've got them undefeated, winning the ACC. But either way, even if they do win the ACC and go undefeated, probably won't have the strength of schedule that, say, Michigan does. Michigan does have a tough stretch in November here, with Penn State and Ohio State both coming up. And then for your Sugar Bowl, we got Georgia against Oregon. The number 4 position is going to be very controversial this year. I really do believe that. This is a very deep college football season. Got a lot of really good teams, especially in the top 8 or top 10. And I think that in this situation, what I've got projected, I think Oregon finds a way into the top 4. I've got them as the Pac-12 champion, 12-1 on the season. I do think they win out down the stretch, their one loss being to Washington. If they can avenge that loss in the Pac-12 title game, which it's more than likely we're going to see Ducks against Huskies in the Pac-12 title game, I do think the Ducks find a way into the top 4. So I've got them against Georgia. Georgia currently got them undefeated, 13-0, heading into the college football playoff as well. But obviously, this is a season that is full of uncertainty. You never know what's going to happen this season. A lot of really good teams, especially in the top 8, top 10. So we'll see what happens as we head into November. But with that, let me know your thoughts in the comments below on these projections. And I appreciate you guys all watching as always. Stay tuned for more from All Sports Central. Catch you on the next one.